Being in network news must mean you never have to say you're sorry. Hey, welcome back. I'm John F. Gately. Let's get into today's story about CBS News, who yesterday came out with a story relative to the Wuhan lab, and they said that, well, we've been double billed, one of the oldest medical scams in the business, right? Double billing happens all the time across the country for Medicare, whatnot. But, oh, look at that. The Wuhan lab was doing it. And why is it so peculiar that CBS would report such a story? Well, it wasn't too long ago on network television, you couldn't even mention the Wuhan lab and the lab leak theory. But look at that. They actually mentioned it in this story. Let's get into it.
We've got new details to share with you today about an investigation into U.S. funding of a Chinese research lab in the city at the center of the pandemic.
All right, I just got to stop right here. I'm wearing a T-shirt from Walmart, and I'm better dressed than the lady from CBS News. What is she wearing?
It's raising questions about how closely past administrations were following the use of the money. Senior investigative correspondent Catherine Herridge joins us from Washington with more. Good morning, Catherine.
Now, Catherine Herridge is going to get us into the details of this, but that is a micro issue. The macro issue, which apparently no one wants to talk about, is why are we funding a lab in Wuhan at all? Why are we funding a virology lab in China? You know, if you want to fund a virology lab in a country that is an ally with us, let's just think of this, the United Kingdom. Well, okay, I could possibly see that because they have certain capacities or knowledge. Fine. But in China, why are we funding a lab of any type, especially bioweapon-like lab, gain-of-function, biology lab? Why are we doing that in China? That is the bigger story.
Records reviewed by CBS News indicate the U.S. government may have paid twice for projects at the Wuhan labs through the National Institutes of Health and the U.S. Agency for International Development, or USAID.
So let me just get this straight. We sent money to the lab in Wuhan through the EcoHealth Alliance grants and other grants, apparently. And then the Chinese created this coronavirus, which was either released from the lab on purpose or by accident, allegedly. And then while they were doing all that and killing millions of people across the country, they decided to double bill us for the research.
The FBI and now the Energy Department have found an accidental lab leak is plausible.
Remember when you weren't allowed to say that? It wasn't that long ago, actually.
Not potentially through infected animals at a nearby market.
And as I have mentioned before, and some of you have mentioned as well, to infer that China has all these really dirty marketplaces and that, of course, it came because the Chinese are dirty, that's the more racist thing that you can say, right? Everyone say, don't say it's from a lab leak, that's racist. Actually, accusing them of spreading it through the wet market, that is racist.
At recent congressional hearings into the origins of COVID-19, the former CDC director said money from multiple U.S. government agencies supported high-risk virus research in Wuhan.
I think it did, not only from NIH, but from the State Department, USAID, and from DOD.
Does following the money get us closer to understanding the origins of COVID-19?
Following the money always seems to work in investigations.
Get the myths that the media has created about the White House. The truth is, these are not very bright guys, and things got out of hand.
Forget the myths that the media told you about the White House and Fauci. The truth is, these guys aren't very bright. Things got out of hand.
Hunt's come in from the cold. Supposedly he's got a lawyer with $25,000 in a brown paper bag.
Follow the money.
Sources familiar with the grant records did not dispute CBS News' reporting. In a statement, a spokesperson for the USAID Inspector General declined to comment on the existence of a specific open investigation.
Just follow the money.
It worked in Watergate, right? Follow the money, and they ended up finding out what happened. that might work in this case. But the bigger question is, why were we funding the lab in the first place? Nobody seems to be asking that question. But if we follow the money, maybe we'll get to that question in the end. Hey, I'm John F. Gately from Plymouth, America's hometown, Massachusetts. Behind enemy lines. Have a great day.